Hey guys, so in today's video we have a budget update, which is one of my favorite things to do each month. So we're going to have a look at how we actually spent our money in the month of May, and I'm also going to be walking you through our budget for the month of June as well. So if you're new to my channel, this is something that I do every single month and I'll keep doing them until you guys get bored. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's start off with how the budget ended up in May. Now, if you like the look of this template, this is something that you can also access as well. It does come with a net worth statement, a sinking funds calculator, and then you also have the choice between a monthly budget template or a weekly budget template, depending on how you get paid. So I'll make sure these are linked in the description below for you, but we tend to use the monthly budget template mainly because my husband gets paid monthly, and to this point I've been getting paid weekly. But what we tend to do is, rather than actually spend my weekly paycheck, what we will do is literally just leave it until the end of the month. So literally leave the money in the account, and then at the end of the month we'll then set the budget for the next month with my husband's income. So during the month of May we actually started in the green, so we had an extra £6 or $6 to spend for the month of May. So our income came in and then we paid out money into our savings, our essential bills, and also our sinking funds. I don't typically go through this in much detail because I tend to do that in the previous budget update. So if you do want to look at our numbers in more detail, definitely check out my previous video. I will link it up here for you and in the description below. But let's have a look at how our spending went, because that is the area we typically track. So let's start off with transport. Now, we had an original budget of £120 or dollars for our transport budget. So that will include petrol for the car, but also sometimes we may have to take public transport, and we ended up spending £122. So just £2 over, not too bad. Now if we move over to groceries, so we originally had a budget of £190 for groceries for the month, and ideally we wanted to spend between £47 to £48 a week on groceries. So when it came to groceries this month, we were under, which I was actually surprised at because groceries just tends to keep going up. But I think this month must have been quite a good month for us, and we only ended up spending £185, so just £5 less than the original budget. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel, plus it's free. Now let's move over to toiletries. So we originally set a budget of £40 for toiletries, and again we went under budget for this month and we only ended up spending £34, which is happy days. And then when it came to our spending, so if you're new to my channel, you might not know that we have individual spending pots. So we allocate a certain amount each month and we get the same. So my husband Yinka got £100 and I got £100. Typically I will spend the whole lot every single month without fail, and typically my husband doesn't. He will usually save a decent amount, and this month was the same. I spent my full 100. I will never know how much Yinka spent because that part is his money and this is mine. Next up, let's move over to personal care. So we had an original budget of £30 for personal care and we ended up spending £30, so no change there, which was great. And then we also have date night, so we allocated about £95 towards date night, and I should also say that this also includes any takeout as well, because sometimes we will include that in the budget. So with date night we ended up spending, again, just under. We spent £92 instead of £95, so very close, but just under. Then when it came to my gym membership, that is £21.99, so that was paid out. And then we also have Disney Plus, so that is £7.99 and that's a direct debit. We then had miscellaneous, so we did have an original budget of £30, and that is literally if anything random comes up and we want to buy something, we have some money there. This time we actually went over on this budget, so instead of £30 we ended up spending £39, so just over. And then we also had a show that we had paid for next year, and so that was £65, and the rest of the money we added that into our pennies jar. So any loose change that we have, we'll put it inside the pot, and then if we ever want to use it in the future, we can. So as you can see, our total spending came to just under £800 or dollars, and we ended up being £3 under budget again. So we are going to carry that on for the next month. It's really interesting to see like how our spending is is now versus 2 years ago, because you can really see inflation has really had an impact on our spending, because we're not necessarily doing different things. The way we spend money is quite similar to how we were spending back in 2021, but in 2021 I think we were spending on average around 680 to 700 a month just on our typical spending, and this year we're obviously spending more around 800. So it's really clear that inflation is still here, but I think we've still been able to adapt quite well in terms of how we save and invest, plus how we spend our money during this time. So let's have a look at how we're going to be budgeting for the month of June. Okay, so when it comes to June, obviously, as I mentioned before, we had an underspend of about £3, so we carried that over onto this month, which means we have about £3 more left to spend. And our income came in this month. Actually, I got paid for 5 weeks rather than 4 weeks, and that's going to be really helpful because we're also going to be budgeting for the next 5 weeks rather than 4 weeks. So you will see that our spending will have also increased because we're actually having to budget for an extra week for food and for petrol and things like that. So that's what happened with our income. Let's now have a look how that's reflected into our savings and our essential bills. So when it comes to savings, so for the month of June, we are currently saving 1,150, and that's going towards a house deposit, and then we also have 50 each going into our own investments. So in terms of our savings and investments, the total is £1,250, and again it's slightly more than what we'll usually be doing because obviously I got paid for an extra week, and so we had a bit more money to save as well, which is always a nice thing. Then let's move over to our essential bills. So in terms of rent, we are paying £1,150 each month. Water is £52.75, electricity and gas is £117.96, council tax is £136.14, broadband is £31. Then we also have iCloud, which is 79 pence. For Yinka's SIM-only contract, it's £12 a month, and mine is £10 a month. And if you're in the UK and you're looking for a new SIM contract, we use Voxy, and that also includes endless social media data. So if you're looking for something similar, definitely check out my link in the description below. And then we also have our tithes, charity and giving. So that is something that is really important to us. It is something that is essential, so we will always give a proportion of our income. And I have made a note to have TV license on there because we actually paid for a year the last time, and this time we're actually going to do a direct debit instead. I think at the end of this month is when it finishes, so for next month I've just put it there as a reminder so I know to add that onto the budget. Let's move over to sinking funds. So if you didn't know, sinking funds are basically just expenses that you might want to save up for over time. So if we look at our sinking funds as an example, we have £50 a month going towards a car maintenance pot. So if anything happens to the car, or if we need to pay for things like car insurance or our MOT or road coverage or anything like that, we have money set aside for that. So that's our car maintenance sinking fund. We also have £20 going towards our dentist appointments. We have another £10 going towards my husband's rugby registration, another £10 for a pot of clothes, so if you ever want to buy clothes, another £10 going towards a presents fund, another £10 going towards a skincare pot, and then also another £40 going towards a wedding pot. Plus we have £200 going towards a holiday pot because my husband is going to be traveling relatively soon, so we just want to put some money aside so that he has enough when he travels. So our sinking fund total is slightly more than usual. It's about £350. Usually it will be about £150 instead. So let's move over to spending. Now if you look at transport, last month we did have a budget for £120, but this month we have a budget for £160, and that's simply because we're budgeting for 5 weeks, so we will need an extra week just to make sure that we have enough money for petrol. So that's why it's £160, and the same with groceries. So we've slightly increased that because we're budgeting for another week. So we are budgeting about £235 for groceries for the month, and hopefully that means we'll be able to spend around £47 a week. So we'll see how that goes. And then we also have toiletries, so we've left that at £40 for the month because we did spend a bit less, so hopefully that should also still be enough. For our spending, we have slightly increased it because number one, we are budgeting for 5 weeks, so we have another week to spend, but also because it's the summertime, we already had plans that we were going to increase our spending budget slightly more because we tend to go out a bit more during the summer. So this month we do have £150 each for our spending, and then personal care remains as £30. Date night, we've also kept this at £90, so hopefully that should be okay. And then we also have my gym membership, which is £21.99. Disney Plus is £7.99. Miscellaneous, we have also kept that at £30. And then the rest of the money, which wasn't very much, we had about 36 pence left, we've added that onto our pennies jar again. So you can see that this month we're going to be spending a lot more, so about £915, but mainly that's because we are budgeting for an extra week. Now, if you're someone who really wants more support when it comes to having a budget that really works for you, that allows you to not only spend your money, but to also save and invest your money really consistently as well, especially if you do want to have more savings, but you're not really sure what's going wrong when it comes to your budget, definitely check out my one-on-one coaching, because what I can do is help you with the whole budgeting process so that you're able to save more and then also start investing in the future as well. So if you do want more support with that, make sure you book a call with me just to find out more about working with me one-on-one. So I'll link more information up here for you and in the description below. But I'm pretty happy with how we spent our money in May, and I'm looking forward to seeing how our budget goes in June too. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, how did your budget go for the month of May? Have you set your budget for June already? I do post every Tuesday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next week.